Intel CEO responds after Trump calls for resignation. The article, the Intel company CEO Lip-Bu Tan responded to the President Trump's public call for his resignation on the late Thursday, calling reports about his career misinformation. In a letter to staff, he said the company was engaging with the Trump administration. There has been a lot of the misinformation circulating about my past roles. I want to be absolutely clear. Over 40 more years in the industry, I've built relationships around the world and across our diverse ecosystem, and I have always operated within the highest legal and ethical standards, Tan wrote. On Thursday, the President Trump wrote to Truth Social, the social media platform that he owns. The CEO of Intel is highly conflicted and must resign immediately. There is no other solution to this problem, he continued. Thanks for your attention to this problem. Tan was named Intel CEO back in March, taking over from Per Gelsinger's tumultuous tenure that saw the company's stock plummet and the chipmaker fall behind in the AI race. Investors cheers Tan's point, with the stock rising as much as 15% after the news, and the Wall Street analysts, as well as current and former executive and employees, saw Tan as the best possibility to succeed in turning around the troubled company. The Intel stock rose Friday after losing over 3% Thursday in an aftermath of Trump's post. And the Intel issues a statement following the Trump's comment, emphasizing its commitment to the advancing U.S. national and economic security interests and to making investment aligned with the President's America First agenda, including domestic semiconductor manufacturing. We look forward to our continued engagement with the administration, the statement concluded. In April, Reuters report details Tan's wide-ranging investment in Chinese companies made through his VC firm, Welding International. The outlet found that the firm remains invested in 20 funds and companies alongside Chinese government funds or state-owned enterprises, according to the Chinese corporate database. Tan has served on a board and in various executive roles and 14 firms in the semiconductor space, most notably including his tenure as CEO of Cadence Design Systems, a chip design software company. Trump's post came a day after one of his top Senate allies, the Republican Tom Cotton, wrote a letter to the Intel board chair questioning Tan's the China ties. Intel is required to be a responsible steward of American taxpayer dollars and to comply with applicable security regulations, Cotton wrote, as pointing to the industry's nearly $8 billion grant from the CHIP Act. Mr. Tan's associations raised questions about Intel's ability to fulfill these obligations. The Lip-Bu is a legend in the semiconductor industry. The Lip-Bu Tan appeared at the event organized by the company in San Jose, California on April 29, 2025. And his ties to many companies, both in and out of China, are well known. Bernstein's analyst Stage Resugon wrote in a note in the Investor Thursday following the Trump Truth Social post. We don't believe the Lip-Bu Tan is conflicted, though given the nature of his administration, Lip-Bu Tan China's ties are seemingly creating an increasingly bad look. Rasgon added, and unfortunately, unlike other tech CEOs, Lip-Bu Tan does not appear to have cultivated the kind of personal relationship with Trump that would help associate his ire. Intel shares are up just 1.8% for the year, lagging other chip stocks such as AMD and Broadcom and market leader Nvidia. In late July, Intel stock sank after the company reported that it would cut its workforce by 15% in an attempt to repair costs as it struggles to revive its aligning the chip manufacturing business. Intel both designs and manufactures chips for itself and has in recent years tried to produce chips for the third-party customers to boost its manufacturing business. So far, efforts have fallen short. The company said in its largest earnings report that it's scrapping an attempt to making its latest manufacturing process technology, called 18A, available to its customers, something analysts had been calling crucial to its turnaround effort and the ability to catch up to rival the manufacturer TSMC. Adding the turmoil, the Wall Street Journal reported late Thursday the CEO was at odds with several members of the Intel board had butted heads with the chairman Frank Yeary over whether the company should scrap its manufacturing business. Tan said in his letter to staff, "The board is fully supportive of the work we are doing to transform our company, innovate for our customers, and execute with discipline. And we are making progress." Okay. Next one. Intel. Next one is Intel retire rarely used 16X MSAA support on X3 GPU. AI scalars like XeSS, FSR, and DLSS provide better, more efficient results. AI methods are taking over. The Intel has begun phasing out 16 times MSAA support into upcoming X3 graphics, as revealed by the engineer Kenneth Grauneck in a recent Mesa driver commit. 16X MSAA isn't supported at all on certain X3 variants, and it's way out on the rest. Most vendors choose not to support it, and many applications offer more modern multi-sampling and upscaling techniques these days. Only 2 and 4 and 8 are supported going forward. The change has already landed in the Mesa 24.3 double branch and is being backported to the early 25.1 and 25.2 release. This marks a clear shift away from the brute force anti-aliasing toward AI-accelerated upscaling and smart sampling. Multi-sample anti-analyzing like the 16X MSAA wants to offer clean edge by sampling geometry multiple times per pixel, but at a steep performance cost. Even lower tiers, MSAA can be demanding, especially in complex sense. It failed to smooth transparency and shader artifact well. It once used to be the king of its domain, but the era is long gone. It's been useful in about arcade in a 16x flavor is simply unrealistic to begin with. Today, modern mechanics like XeSS, AMD's FSR, and NVIDIA's DLSS provide anti-aliasing plus resolution, upscaling, and image reconstruction, often outperforming traditional MSAA with much less GPU strain, not to mention the frame generation capabilities. These upscalers can all be run in a native AA mode to improve image quality and can outperform the temporal AA method like TAA in reducing flicker in preserving the detail. MSAA works by detecting edges as a consequence of contemporary Ryan-Sono scaling tech. We've stopped raising the higher internal rendering resolution that would otherwise be required for MSAA to work effectively. AI-based temporal solution simple to use all, and then continue to get the most amount of community support as well. Intel's XeSS is super sampling, while primarily intended for scaling and frame generation, and it also delivers modern anti-aliasing capability across the frame. Its latest SDK supports not only Intel's owned GPUs but also works NVIDIA and AMD hardware. giving developer vendor agnostics the path to the integrating advanced sampling and the latency optimizations. So why drop 16x MSAA? Intel, like other vendors, recognize the diminishing the returns of the ultra-heavy ASS combined with the rising quality and efficiency of temporal and AI-powered alternatives. The game engines, especially those running on the default rendering and often disable a high MSAA level altogether. Community feedback echoes these users report that while MSAA used to great, never techniques provided visuals with smoother performance. That's by limiting support to MSAA to 2x, 4x, and 8x going forward. Intel simplifying the diverse maintenance, driver maintenance, and encouraging developers to adopt modern upscaling pipeline. For Linux gamers and developers working with Iris Gallium 3D and Vulkan ANV. And it's a signal that if you want a high quality anti-aliasing, it's time to lean on XeSS, FSR, DLSS, or open standard like TAA or and smart post-processing rather than a brute multi-sampling. In the context of Xe launch, the likely paired with the Panther-like CPU family, this rollback of legacy MSS echoes broader industry trend, more AI and less brute force, and may prompt engine architecture to optimize around hybrid AA strategies and XeSS SR plus TAA, and a focus on motion clarity and preserve performance headroom for real-time ray tracing or VR workloads. This could serve as a turning point in how Linux graphics drivers treat image quality, hinting that the future of the anti-aliasing lies in a smarter, more adaptive method, not higher sample counters. Okay, thank you. Next one is this one is quite old one. It's in July. It's Intel next gen Jaguar shows how the AI GPUs to feature SK Hynix HBM4 memory UARC GPU for Edge AI coming in Q4 2025. The Intel revealed that it's partnering with SK Hynix for its next-gen Jaguar Shores Gaudi GPUs, while also working on a new UARC GPU for Edge AI servers. Intel to launch a brand new ARC GPUs aiming the Edge AI server segment in Q4 2025, collaborating with SK Hynix for its next-gen Jaguar Shores Gaudi accelerators. During the Intel AI Summit 2025, which was held in Seoul just a few hours ago, Intel revealed some key details of its next-generation GPU lineup. According to the Blue Team, we should expect update in ARC and Gaudi segment later this year. The first of the Intel unveiled its ARC product family, which currently includes the battle-amazing powered ARC B series and ARC Pro B series product. These include B580, B570, and Pro B60, and Pro B50. And Intel's Arc Pro GPU were unveiled at Computex 2025 and should be on their own way to the first customers right now. The two products are competitively positioned in the graphic inference workstation segment, but there's more to come. As Azure Power is Intel, the company is planning to launch a new ARC product aimed at the Edge AI expansion. The products are expected to launch in Q4 2025, and the details were shared. And the new ARC GPU could be highly anticipated big battleship chip, possibly the BMG-G31, and which had been showing up for a while now. This could be around the same time when we see the announcement for gaming-related product based on the same chip, though it is just speculation from an end my since I'm really excited to be the Charles could more in the gaming space. In addition to the ARC announcement, Intel also announced that it's collaborating with SK Hynix and leveraging HBM4 memory for its next-gen Gaudi AI accelerators, codenamed Jaeger Showa. The new GPUs will leverage the 18A process node, which includes technologies such as RibbonFET and backside power deliveries for improved efficiency and transistor density. Jaeger Showers will be the successor of the Falcon Showers, which was meant to be a multi-domain and multi-IP product, combining the x86 CPUs with the GPUs, but the product was ultimately cancelled along with its successor, codenamed Rialto Ricci. In its presentation, SK Hynix showed that Jaeger Showers servers will utilize either Granite Rapids and next-gen Diamond Rapids Xeon GPUs. Diamond Rapids is another key Intel 18A product that will make use of SK Hynix's MRDIMM Gen 2 solution with up to 128 GB of capacity per module. These servers will be launching the next year, and NVIDIA will be launching its Rubin, and AMD will be launching its MI400 GPU AI platform. The next article is the Intel prepared for Nova Lake CPUs with the new Linux support, retiring 20-year family system designation and flavor of the Family 18. When it Nova Lake to be on track. For the first time in more than 2 decades, Intel is moving past its long-standing CPU classification system in favor of a new one. With Nova Lake, the company's next generation of processors introduces signaling the end of the Family 6 era that has defined x86 processors since in the late 1990s. And the change was unearthed as part of Linux enablement. Intel is doing the Nova Lake as we speak. The initial patch spotted the Linux kernel mailing its release. Phoronix introduced Nova Lake under the brand new identifier. Family 18 marks a clean break from the legacy Family 6 framework, which has carried everything from Pentium Pro to Alder Lake. The move requires significant refactoring in previous kernel release, ensuring the Linux code could adapt the architecture beyond the Family 6. The update also adds a definition for two models, Nova Lake Family 18 Model 1 and Nova Lake L Family 18 Model 3, the latter likely denoting the low-powered mobile variant. These early hooks allowed future driver-level patches covering the graphics, power management, and scheduling to integrate them seamlessly once Nova Lake hardware lands in late 2026. This isn't a naming exercise like the company dropping the branding of its CPUs 2 years ago. Rather, the Intel segmentation strategy became clearer. Family 18 for client CPUs, while Family 19 will next-gen Xeon processors like Diamond Rapids. By splitting the desktop and server under distinct families, Intel aims to simplify the feature tracking and driver enablement across the platforms. Although these kernel patches don't reveal any hardware specs, they just add a simple identifier to Linux kernel, allow them hinted at aggressive performance target. Nova Lake is expected to double core as count for Alder Lake, with rumored configuring scale up to the 16 performance cores, 32 efficiency cores, and 4 LPE cores, along with a new IP GPU based on the x83 the Druid architecture. There is also speculation that Nova Lake will span everything from the desktop laptops to the emerging categories like gaming. Handheld Nova Lake exists, suggesting Intel wanted to the Linux groundwork to cover a broader range of the use cases. With Panther Lake expected to launch first and bring 18A to the market, likely under the Core Ultra 300 branding, Nova Lake's debut is still away, but Intel is early enablement ensuring that the time the Ubuntu 26.40 LTS arrives, Linux users will have a full support baked in, something that's becoming a essential part of the Intel playbook. Okay, the next one is TSMC Q2 profit up to 60% year over year. TSMC saw Q2 profit up to 60.7% year over year at a $12.8 billion on sales, which were up to the 44.4% year over year and up at 17.8% Q over Q at a $3 billion. Compared to the Q1 and Q2, results represent a 11.3% increase in revenue and a 10.2% increase in net income. Gross margin for the quarters was 58.6%, operating margin was 49.6%, and the net profit margin was 42.7%. In the second quarter, shipment of the 3 nanometer accounted for 24% of the total wafer revenue. 5 nanometers accounted for 36%, 7 nanometer accounted for 40%. Advanced technologies defined as 7 nanometers and more advanced technology accounted for 74% of the total wafer revenue. Okay. Next one is Japanese SoftBank will hand with the US Intel to develop a new memory and semiconductor that will be used for artificial intelligence. The Nihon Keizai Shimbun Nikkei reported on the first that the two companies are pushing to develop a new large capacity memory that reduces power consumption by half compared to the high bandwidth memory HBM, which is essential for AI devices. The University of Tokyo, Japan, the most prestigious university, will also participate in this. Several companies and organizations are also reported considering investment in technical cooperation, including the National Institute of Chemical Research, RIKEN, National Research and Development Corporation, and the semiconductor package substrate company Shinko Electric Industry. SoftBank and others recently established a company called SI Memory to develop new semiconductors in addition to Intel's technology. The company plans to use a patent owned by the Tokyo University and others to make prototypes over the next 2 years and that determine the possibility of the mass production. CY Memory is responsible for intellectual property management or chip design while functioning as a head coach for development products and entrusted the production to the external companies. CY Memory plans to reduce power consumption compared to the HBM by changing the structuring of the wiring between the memories when stacking memory DRAMs on the substrate. E-Times article: French startup combines electronics, photonics, and optics for AI. The French chip startup Arago has raised $26 million in seeding funding to develop its light-based AI accelerator codenamed JEF. The company aims to reduce AI reference energy by 10 times compared to the today's GPUs by combining analog and digital electronics, silicon photonics, and free space optics. While most photonic computing startups are founded by the optics or photonic researchers, Arago's founder of physics and AI researchers, which Arago CEO Nicolas Miller argued gives us the different perspective. We started from the top, meaning that what does it take to infer a model very efficiently? Miller told E-Times. Then he turned the data into a data sheet for a product. Arago is less than a year old. Was founded by the 3 young entrepreneurs who have met at a makerspace: Miller, Elliot Serry, and Ambroise Muller. And Serry and Muller met at ETH Zurich while working on the silicon photonic and algorithms developed, respectively. They will serve as COCTOs. The Arago key challenges identified Miller are to get a photonic computing chip working, reliable, and to make it performant enough and easy enough to use so that it can be adapted into AI technology systems. Arago co-founders LR, Nicolas Miller, Scott Serry, and Ambroise Muller, Historically, companies that were tackling in this paper were in space were born around 5 to 10 years ago, where the technical and scientific landscape was extremely different. Miller said you had a pure optical technologies and different technologies that are based on the three space optics. What we built here technologies that overcome all of those challenges by only using optics very specific spaces. Araga calls each inference chips Jeff a multi-physics processor because it combines elements of analog and digital electronics with silicon photonics and three space optics. Technical like spatial light modulator SLMs from the free space optics are limited by the modulation frequency. Instead, while silicon photonic, the modulator are limited by the majority of the manufacturing processes. We combined with some classical silicon process with specific optics components that we integrate into a unified and coherent process and architectures to make it work, Miller said. The combining electronics and photonic elements enables a functional process that can be manufactured using current processes integrated into today's developed ecosystem, Miller said. The second aspect of the made Arago possible is timing of this project that from a pure supply chain perspective, because we are fabulous companies, we now have some components and some processes that became mature and cost-effective enough around 1 to 2 years ago. So versus competitors like light makers, Light Intelligence, Celiance, and Lumine, Arago's starting point was very different. It was technology and approach are too different too, Miller said. Software stack, the half of the Arago teams of 20 years working on the software. Why we don't want to hear that the people need to learn a new language, change their habits, just take ages to integrate our processors into their existing ecosystem, Miller said. So the team at Arago is building a dedicated software stack that abstract all these differences so that AI developers, researchers, or data scientists can access our processor by changing a single command line. The eventual product will be a data center inference accelerator, though the technology could be applied to edge applications like robotics further down the line, Miller said. We received interest for different applications were directed toward the edge. Miller said, if you think about the data center, a processor like Argo that cut the energy consumption by 10 to the 30 times is very interesting from a scalability and financial perspective. But for edge applications such as robotics, this kind of performance is different between the prototype and mass production. The technology could be applied to the training chips, Miller said, but the system level challenges like building truck clusters plus strong competition from the market leader, making this market less attractive. Arago has a test chip up and running on the small card which is already running AI inference for multiple models, Miller said. The team is currently around 20 people in France and UK and US and Israel. The funding will be used for product development and grow teams at each technical hubs. Okay, thank you for your time. See you next time.